What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool and football news video. And in this video we will have the discussion and also brand new information about whether the Premier League season will be finished or not, whether Liverpool will be crowned champions or not. And this issue is very close to my heart because I waited all my life, 20 years, since I started supporting Liverpool and since I really started watching football seriously, to witness Liverpool lifting the Premier League title. And of course we need to wait a few months still to witness that to happen. And we have UEFA President Alexander Ceferin saying that he cannot see any way that Liverpool could finish the season without the Premier League title. But we also have FA chairman, the chairman of the FA, saying that the Premier League and the EFL football leagues might not finish. So we have very interesting conflicting information and we will cover all of that in this video. So if you guys enjoy these, leave a like and let me know in the comments below which is the most likely scenario for you guys. I think FIFA and UEFA said that they will extend the season indefinitely and they want every league to be finished, of course, when it's safe to do so. We have to say before every video, I don't want to say it, but you guys know this, the health and safety of everyone is the most important. Football is not the most important at this moment, but of course you are watching a football channel and we are discussing football issues here, and I want to see Liverpool winning the title. Even if it's behind closed doors, it will most likely be behind closed doors. But first, let's listen to the UEFA president. This is what he said: "I can see no way for Liverpool to stay untitled, to not lift the Premier League title. If the championship, the Premier League, resumes, they will almost certainly win it. Theoretically, it has not yet reached the guaranteed level, but it is practically very close. However, if the Premier League season can't continue, if it could not be played, it would also be necessary to announce the results in some way and find some key on how the champions should be determined." And of course, again, I do not see a scenario in which that would not be Liverpool. In England, I think deciding who wins the championship, the Premier League, is pretty easy because Liverpool are 25 points clear of Manchester City. But in other leagues, it might be tricky. For example, in the Serie A, there is still a three-horse title race going on. And if the Serie A can't continue, then it will be very difficult to announce a championship, the title. And even Juventus said that they don't want the title being given to them if the season is cancelled and if it can't continue. So there are, of course, different scenarios here that we are talking about. Also, the UEFA president said, "I understand that fans will be disappointed if it happens in an empty stadium or even at the green table, but I will believe that Liverpool will win the title one way or another." He also added, "I'm an optimist. I am optimistic that we will see the conclusion of the Spanish championship as well. I am optimistic that we will see the conclusion of the Italian one. And I am just optimistic in general. Of course, I cannot guarantee anything. I cannot promise anything. It will all depend on the situation in individual countries. It will all depend on whether the circumstances are good enough for you to avoid endangering anyone by playing football." And I think this is the key. And also it will be very interesting because in different countries, the health issues are developing differently. In Italy, in Spain, the level is going down, while in the UK and in the USA it's still on an upward trajectory. So I think in the UK it will be possibly a few weeks, maybe even a month later, when football can resume. And in this video we will also talk about a plan where all 20 Serie A clubs could move to one single location to finish the season. And of course that scenario is a possibility for the Premier League as well. They could play all their games in London or in the Midlands when there are a lot of football pitches in a close proximity. So the English FA's chairman Greg Clark has admitted that it may not be possible to complete the 2019-20 campaigns amid this health crisis. I think his opinion is very interesting and very important, but of course it doesn't guarantee anything. I think it cannot be completed on a deadline, but it can be completed because if the season can resume in June or July, which is the original plan. At the moment, the Premier League wants to resume the season in June. That will be difficult, but not impossible, because by that time we might see a massive slowdown of cases. And this is what the FA chairman said. We live in uncertain times, and our priority is to support the British government's public health initiatives. The well-being of all of us, and especially our most vulnerable members, must be our focus. The government's instructions regarding social distancing are our route to safety. However, football needs to pay attention to the economic effects of the pandemic, as well as following public health guidance. Football, like many other sectors of the economy, has been hit very hard by effectively closing down its business, from grassroots level through to semi-professional pyramid to the football professional pyramid. Clubs have closed, games are cancelled, terraces are empty, and cash flow has immediately almost stopped or stalled. Yesterday, the FA chief executive Mark Bullingham announced the measures the FA board approved to stabilize our finances, given the suspension of the game that drives our revenue streams. The FA is suffering from the severe financial consequences of the pandemic, which could be in the range of £150 million upwards over the next 2 years. The pay cuts, the furloughing we have implemented buys us time to understand more fully the duration of the lockdown and its economic impact on us. Returning to the issue of uncertainty, no one knows how long the lockdown will last and what social distancing measures will endure, even when the daily rate of infection is a lot slower. Our government is rightly cautious, and as human lives are at stake, and this is our only sensible option. We are committed to finishing the professional football season, as this resolves the issues of promotion, relegation, together with title winners on merit. However, we may not be able to finish the season, as football is not our priority right now. Human life is, and we will do as the government directs. Further down the football pyramid, our leagues have requested that the season is curtailed, and that decision rests with the FA Council. Football faces economic challenges beyond the wildest imagination of those who run it. The pandemic will be followed by its economic consequences, and all business sectors will suffer. What I want to add to this is that the football clubs in the lower leagues, the National League and lower, didn't request the season to be cancelled. And I think it's very, very unfair and very harsh that the FA Council, I'm not sure who is responsible for the lower leagues, I'm talking about the semi-professional clubs and even the clubs below that, their season was just cancelled, and it doesn't make any sense to make that decision so early on without actually consulting and talking with those clubs. That's what really angered me, that most clubs weren't even asked what they want to be happening in this scenario. The FA chairman, he continued, "We face the danger of losing clubs and leagues as finances collapse. Many communities could lose the clubs at their heart, with little chance of resurrection. In the face of this unprecedented adversity, all the stakeholders within the game, from players, fans, clubs, owners and administrators, need to step up and share the pain to keep the game alive. Everyone should understand that the Premier League clubs are not immune from the impact of this, and whilst they are impacted to different leagues depending on their cost base, the potential overall financial impact is huge. We must have a plan to ensure that English football is not decimated should this season be lost and next season blighted. We hope we do not need this plan, as we are all determined to finish the professional football season. However, we would be fools not to develop such a contingency plan. Those that lost their clubs because English football did not rise to the challenge would rightly judge us harshly." I think he's right. He's right that we need to prepare for every scenario. And one of the scenarios, as painful as it would be to many fans, many football fans, especially to Liverpool fans, one of those scenarios is that this pandemic goes on so long that you can't finish this season. But still, even if it goes until the winter, it still makes more sense actually to me to finish this season then and to maybe cut next season in half and just play like half the games or the quarter of the games in the Premier League, or do some kind of playoff system where you have maybe the top 10 teams playing against each other and the bottom 10 teams playing against each other, or something like that. And that way you would have even less games if you don't have more time to just play the regular season. The FA chairman also said, "Time is pressing us as football burns through its cash reserves with no sign yet of resumption of the game. Pointing fingers has no purpose. It is time for the stakeholders to agree common cause to save our game. Football is a team game and now is the time for teamwork. The FA looks forward to working with all football stakeholders to safeguard and protect the future of our game." And I think that's a brilliant end to actually a very interesting statement by the FA chairman. And I think he's mostly right that football needs to prepare for all scenarios, and it would be horrible to see football clubs go out of existence and go bankrupt because of this pandemic. But that's a very realistic and very frightening scenario that could happen in the next few months, next half a year. I really hope not. I don't want to see any football club go bankrupt, because it's always painful for that local community. And I hated what happened to Bury and Bolton at the beginning of the season, and Bury basically went bankrupt, ceased to exist. But thankfully their fans will restart from the lowest leagues, and that football club will rise again. But it would take quite a few years, quite a long time to get back to where they were in the professional football league. And Sadio Mane gave a very interesting interview where he says that he accepts that Liverpool may be denied winning the Premier League title. I don't really want to talk about this, but I think it's an interesting interview to share with you guys. Mane said, "It's my dream to win the Premier League title and I want to win it this year, but if that's not the case, I will accept it. It's part of life. Hopefully we will win it next year." Wow, I mean, it wasn't part of life for the last 100 years, because this never happened in the last 100 years in the English league. Only in the world, during the World Wars, was the league suspended and then not even played. But for a global virus to actually wreck a football season, this is a first, I think, in the last 100 years. And Mane said this: "I want to win the games. I want to get the Premier League trophy. It's that I would love. But with this situation, whatever happens, I will understand. It has been difficult for Liverpool, but it has been more difficult for many millions of people around the world. Some people have lost family members, and that is the more complicated situation. But for myself, it's my dream to win this title." So very interesting words from Sadio Mane. I think it would take an absolute worst case scenario for this Premier League season not to finish, because everyone has so many motivations to finish the season, especially all football clubs and all football organizations want to finish the season. Only the haters and the naysayers and people who would benefit from the season not finishing want the season null and void, in my opinion. And Marino, who is the Udinese chairman, made a very, very bold prediction, and I think it's pretty nonsensical to predict things like this. But he actually said that the Premier League season won't finish, it will be cancelled. His club is owned by Gianpaolo Pozzo, one of the members of the Pozzo family, the father of Watford owner Gino Pozzo, and the Belgium Football Federation closed and finished the Belgian season. It wasn't null and void, but it was cancelled, and Bruges was champions, and the football places were awarded as the table finished. And this is what Marino told Sport Italia. The Belgian Federation has already sanctioned the end of their league, despite the threats of sanctions from Uefa. In England, the Premier League is about to release a similar statement, because the situation there is becoming very, very serious. I frankly just hope we can enjoy football again. after this is all over. It doesn't matter how long it takes. We need to get out of this danger zone. I'm worried for the next seasons, not the old one. Udinese is probably like on the verge of getting relegated in the Serie A, and I'm not sure what his motivations are for him to say this. And I'm absolutely certain that he doesn't know for a fact that the Premier League will be cancelled, because the Premier League just said that they are committed to finish this season and to resume the season in June. So why would they even plan to stop and cancel the season if they just made a statement that they want to finish the season whenever it's safe to do so? And I get that the human life is the most important thing, and we are not saying that football should be coming back soon. What good does it do to just cancel the season? That's what I don't get. You already completed 75% of this season, and there is absolutely no guarantee that if you start the next season in August or September without finishing this season, there is absolutely no guarantee that next season will just go smoothly and this virus will not come back, because it could come back in the winter. This could be like a seasonal flu, for example, and of course we don't want that to happen, but according to the experts, that is a scenario that could happen, and we seriously don't know if it will happen or not. So it makes a lot more sense to just complete this season, because you are already 75% there. In England, for example, you only have to play like 9 games to complete the season. That's not a lot, but in the new season, if you start the new season in August or September without finishing this one, you have to get through like 50 games or 55 games in some cases in all competitions for football clubs, and there is no guarantee that next season won't get disrupted because of another health crisis. So I just don't understand why some people prefer next season to start instead of finishing this season. It doesn't make any sense for me. And now let's talk about the big plans revealed in the Daily Mail. They are saying that all 20 Serie A clubs could move to Rome to finish the current campaign in a like 45-day retreat style enclosure, basically a closed environment where only clubs, players, staff, managers are allowed in, so no reporters, journalists, just the TV equipment, the TV staff and the football staff, players, physios, managers, etc. And also the Italian FA considers these extreme proposals in a bid to complete the season. Training sessions and games would be played in these facilities available to the capital, with safety measures that would provide for the absence of fans, and also players won't be allowed to move out of this closed environment for the time being until the football season is completed, which I think in theory it sounds good, but can you really guarantee that nobody would get into contact with anybody from the outside? I mean you would need to have some food supplies, water supplies coming in, and that always poses a risk. But with proper cleaning and everything, I think you can very, very much minimize the risk of anybody within this closed environment contacting the virus. It would also allow for regular testing of players and staff, while reporters would be excluded from attending the games. So no fans, no reporters, just the essential staff. The idea would be to reduce the extensive traveling, while contact with those outside the football clubs would be minimal. In this case, the referees would also be part of the retreat, which would take place in the south of the country, either in Rome or in Tivoli. What do you think about this? Because Rome and Tivoli and like the southern regions of Italy haven't been hit that hard by this health crisis, so I think it could make sense in theory, as I said, but I think it will be pretty difficult to pull this off. But yeah, let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. See you later. Goodbye.